Welcome to VSP News Online for Wednesday, July the 1st. I'm Charles Webb. Home Affairs Minister Michael Fay found himself being chastised in the Senate today for allegedly disrespecting Ombudsman Victoria Pearman over her report on the overlooking of a Bermudian applicant. But after listening to Opposition Leader Senator Diallo Rubain, Minister Fay tried to put his comments in perspective.
People listen to not just what you're saying, but how you're saying it and how you're putting it across, and that's the impression people walk away with. And they're looking at this government and saying, you know, they're saying things that make them sound arrogant, make them sound like, you know, it's what I want to do. So what if you don't like it? And I think the minister made a point when he said, if people think I'm being arrogant, it's because they just don't like what I'm got to say. And that, for me, is the epitome of arrogance when you say that, because at the end of the day, a government's job is to endear itself to the people that it is governing. And if you can't endear yourself to the people that you are governing, you're just not going to have the trust of the people. And when you don't have the trust of the people, everything that you do will be questioned from there on. And everything that this government does is being questioned by the very people that they are there to govern. When will they wake up and understand that it's about being empathetic to the people's plight while trying to move government forward at the same time? All we get thrown at us is these facts and figures and numbers, but they don't have a human touch to it. If you don't have a human touch, you're just not going to have the support of the people.
No, his point was made that your government struggled with the whole issue of immigration too. I think there's some truth in that.
Well, yeah, and I made mention of that, and I said I'm not going to stand. I made sure to say that I'm not going to be here and say that the previous administration didn't have challenges with the ombudsman or the auditor general and offices like that. But this is a government that has pledged to do things differently, and doing things differently does not mean saying, "Hey, you did it."
I think it's very fair to say that the Department of Immigration makes any number of recommendations to the minister every day, every week, every month during the course of the year. Some are accepted fully, some are changed with recommendations to either lessen what the recommendation is or in fact to increase it based on the evidence that is presented, and that is the job of the minister. And anybody who is sat in this chair as a minister that's responsible for immigration will know that. Some decisions we may get spot on, some may be a little off, but there are processes that need to be followed, and they were followed correctly within the department.
Unusually, you actually did get to look at the application that never arrived and found that, to your consideration, she did not have the required experience or qualifications. What if you had discovered she did?
Well, then again, most likely, if I had felt that that person did have experience, and I may have very well have made a different decision, but I think what's important to note is that we get applications in on a regular basis in any number of different areas, and the board, if it goes to the board, will make a determination that in fact we believe this Bermudian did have the experience and a work permit will not be granted. Now remember, what the Immigration Department cannot do is we cannot force an employer to hire a specific individual. All the department can do is say, we don't grant, all that the board can do or me is say, we don't grant this work permit. We believe that there may have been Bermudians that have the requisite experience or qualifications.
A thief who broke into the window of a locked car near St. David's Primary School on Monday evening and got away with a bag containing a large amount of money belonging to the Eastern Counties clubs is being sought by the police. Meanwhile, Senator Diallo Rubain, secretary of the organization, spoke to VSP News sports editor Earl Baisden at the Cabinet building this morning.
As been announced by the police yesterday, there was an unfortunate robbery that took place after the spot sales at the St. David's Cricket Club. The money that was collected was unfortunately stolen. What we met last night, and we came up with a plan of action, and part of that plan of action is that because the wristbands for the series this year was in the bag that was taken, that we are now going to not honor any of the wristbands that have been issued out, and we're requesting that everyone who has received a wristband show up at the Bayless Bay Cricket Club on July 11th between 1 and 6, which is a junior county round. So you can show up at the club and you'll be exchanged new wristbands for the ones that you had received. We're also asking that everyone bring their receipt that they received to prove that they did get wristbands legitimately. It's an unfortunate incident. We're grateful for the help the police has given to us thus far, and they're doing their investigation, and hopefully something will come out of it.
A stretch of land on the South Shore today took its first step in becoming Southlands National Park and a community garden, thanks to the efforts by the Friends of Southlands, government, and BEST. Premier Michael Dunkley joined Minister of Public Works Craig Cannonier, Cooney Frith Black of Friends of Southlands, and Stuart Hayward of BEST to highlight the preservation of the property for future generations.
I'm certainly delighted to have the opportunity to be here today. I think we all agree as Bermudians who live in paradise that protecting our environment and doing everything we can to help protect our environment and preserve it for future generations is of critical importance for us as we go forward. So I'm delighted to have the opportunity to be here today to carry on with that tradition that we have as Bermudians in protecting our environment. This was a promise that this government made, and this is a promise that this government has kept in this regard. I'd like to thank the Friends of Southlands for sticking to it. At times, things might move a little bit slower than we'd like, but if you stick to it, things get done.
I know that Southlands has been a part of dinner conversations for some time now, and we've seen the grass growing. And as the Premier has already said, this was a commitment by us as a government that we would see this become a national park. This is the first step and the first stage in moving towards this. And I did want to say to the Parks Department, who have been working very diligently in this area of Southlands. I just found out many things are going on here that even I as a minister was not aware of, and some of the plans that they have going forward.
It will be community gardens and education gardens that will be open later on this fall to the community, where the public will actually have an opportunity to have plots here that they can grow vegetables, whatever they choose to grow within legal. Okay, has to be legal produce. Also, the community gardens here will serve as an education center to our youth. We are very much encouraging youth participation, particularly in environmental and horticultural experiences. So they will have that opportunity.
Mr. Premier, I have been asked to present you with a t-shirt, a Southlands t-shirt. We hope it'll keep the next step fresh in your memory. That next step is that in honor of all those who walked and worked to preserve Southlands, this property will, as the minister said, in its entirety be added to the Register of National Public Parklands.
And we'll be back with more news right after this.
The Marketplace Food Court is you and your family's one-stop shop. Start your day at the Breakfast Bar with omelets made to order and traditional Bermuda codfish breakfast. The chefs will cook lunch and dinner to your liking. Along with the salad bar, sandwich bar, sushi bar, and fruit bar, the Marketplace Food Court is your kitchen away from home. Every day is hassle-free with nutritious meals from the Marketplace Food Court. Visit us 7 days a week. Homemade cooking, quality service, all at prices you can count on.
The first major rewriting of the Land Valuation Act in almost 50 years sailed through the Senate this morning and will now be used to provide new land ARV ratings for 35,000 residential units. Government Senator Lynn Woolridge provides some important details.
The bill was first passed in 1967, so it's almost 50 years old. It needed to be brought into the 21st century. Many of the services of notice were in the bill were that you had to just hand deliver something to a person's place of residence, or it was sent by post. So we've enabled things to be emailed or put in post office boxes, things like that. There were also some changes that had to be made as a result of recent court cases and tribunal appeals and Supreme Court cases. So it incorporated some of the lessons learned as a result of some of those legal actions that were taken.
Why do two homes side by side have different valuations?
That's interesting. Certainly, persons said that it would be good to have some sort of a cheat sheet to determine how the annual rental value is determined. And I was able to let people know that the website, the government website and portal are being updated, and there will be a bit of a cheat sheet on there to explain to people exactly how things can be determined. One of the suggestions that was made was, or one of the questions was, why does one necessarily need to enter into a unit to determine what's going on? Why not just refer to the files at the Department of Planning? And it was revealed that many times people don't always build according to plan, or unfortunately don't file a plan with the Department of Planning in the first place. So we can't always rely on that, and so sometimes, in rare cases, it is necessary to actually enter the unit, but of course it's always done with the agreement and at the convenience of the occupier and the taxpayer.
Are there big changes coming?
I'm not quite sure. Certainly we're working on the 2015 draft land valuation. 35,700 units currently being assessed, evaluated. The questionnaires went out in February and April of this year, and so the analysis is taking place right now.
It is a source of considerable wealth to the government.
Yes, I believe it's the third largest revenue source for the government, so the government certainly wants to make these changes so that there is certainty of their revenue.
One of the historic dockyard buildings damaged by the 2014 hurricanes has been superbly restored by local contractors hired by the West End Development Corporation, and they have found an American Cup tenant almost immediately. General Manager Andrew Diaz takes us on a tour of the restored twin building to the clock tower block, and we meet the new tenants.
The building was in pretty bad shape with regard to the roof leaking. We had to do a lot of the members in the roof and replace them. There was some interior rot on the floor, and basically some of the windows, or most of the windows, the sashes had to all be changed. The exterior of the building was actually, as I said, a project that was operated by Wedco. We went out to tender. The tender was actually eventually won by Korea Construction, and they did all of the roofing. Obviously, they had subs which were on their team, so it was a combination of a whole bunch of Bermudian local business people and contractors. The interior, as I said, was fitted out by the tenant. They had some involvement with BCM and a lot of other local contractors.
We've had sprinkler systems put in, we've had fire systems put in, flooring, plumbing, electrical, data. We put offices in areas upstairs to get the design and sales team set up so they're functional with meeting rooms. And we're just tying in the last of the bathroom shower facility in the gym.
We've enjoyed the support, the professionalism from the local contractors. Made the project enjoyable. I mean, it hasn't been easy, we've said that before. It's had, moving from San Francisco, setting up, and in a very short time frame. It's been a positive experience.
It's an honor to maintain the historical value of a building of this nature and to bring it back to life from what we saw it when we first got up here.
Hopefully we've respected the heritage, and it's been at the forefront with us fitting out the building. It's unique, and I think when we leave, hopefully we've left something which will be in demand, a pretty nice space that a business or several businesses will want to occupy.
The legacy, if you will, or the benefit to the West End development area and all of Dockyard is the fact that it might have taken us 10 years to get through upgrading a lot of these buildings, and this has been the impetus to be able to complete that or shrink that time period to sort of the 2 to 3 to 4 or 5 year time frame, so half the amount of time we're able to restore a lot of the buildings.
Hospital Week being recognized by the Bermuda Hospitals Board is a combination of raising awareness amongst hospital staff and saying thank you. Chief Executive Officer and President Vanetta Simons explains.
Hospital Week for us, it's something that BHB used to celebrate years ago, and we want to bring it back to basically stimulate more understanding internally of what it is that we're actually doing on a daily basis. It's a way of saying thank you. to give the recognition to our staff. We have individuals who brought forward statistics. As you walk around the hospital, you'll see things such as how many pounds of laundry do we process in any given day, how many emergency visits do we handle in a year, what the length of stay is for particular patients. Our employees work so hard every single day, and we work in all of our separate areas to make sure that care is provided for the 65,000, and it's very easy to forget the hard work that happens behind the scenes to make this happen. So Hospital Week is really raising the awareness of what we're doing internally, operationally, on a daily basis, bringing that to the surface a bit, having a little bit of fun, and our way of basically just simply saying thank you for all that you do.
Area Members of Parliament Derek Burgess and Wayne Ferbert are inviting the public to attend a meeting in the Shelley Bay Beach on Thursday evening to discuss the proposed development of the facility. The meeting, which starts at 7:30 p.m., is to get the views of the constituents on the multipurpose plans for the location that would include a restaurant, playground, beach, and park. And now we turn to Earl Baisden with the latest from the sports desk.
Well, when the dust settled, Bermuda's medal count at the 2015 Island Games in Jersey had risen to 6 after 3 days of competition. On day 3, Bermuda captured a silver and a bronze medal. Gabriella Arnold won the bronze medal during the women's individual road race, crossing the line in a time of 1:43.11. The silver medal was captured by the women's team cycling road race of Arnold, Karen Badage, and Zonique Williams. In archery, Bernard Wade is currently in 4th place with 571 points, taking part in the men's 72 recurve, while Robert O'Connor is in 30th with 465 points. Emma Kalau made it all the way to the quarterfinals in women's singles badminton action. Kalau went down 2-0 against Ravan Carson from Faroe Islands. The men's double team of Mark Hagen and Daniel Hughes went down 2-0 to their opponents from the Isle of Wight, while Rohan Pai and Michael Palmer fell 2-0 to their opponents from Jersey. Bermuda now 3-0 in Group A of basketball after defeating Guernsey 67-54. Bermuda went down in both their men's matches in beach volleyball. They fell 2-0 to Sarima and 2-0 to Menorca, while the women's team won their only game of the day 2-0 against Faroe Islands. Dominique Mayo finished the men's individual road race cycling in 20th place, clocking a time of 2:58.56. Shaquan Richardson finished 34th, and Darren Glassford did not finish. Badage finished 6th in the women's individual road race, clocking a time of 1:43.16.2, while Zonique Williams did not finish. William Hardrell is in 2nd place after his round of 69 during the men's individual golf tournament. Mark Phillips is tied 8th after shooting a first round 78. Damien Paliande is in 11th with a round of 75, and Jared Dillis is tied 22nd after his round of 79. Ebony Burgess leads the Bermuda ladies. She's tied 10th with a score of 82. Catherine Burney is tied 13th with a round of 83. Elizabeth Parsons shot at 85 and is tied 17th. And Linda Down is in 28th after her round of 94. After 9 races, David Kendall is currently 5th in the sailboarding event with 37 points. Scott Mallow is in 12th with 81 points. Matthew Woken is in 15th with 124 points. And Alexander Jones is in 16th with 152 points. Kaylin Hillier is in 3rd after 9 races in the Laser Standard Rig with 24 points, while David Hillier is in 18th with 107 points. Turning to shooting, Nelson Simons finished 12th, competing in the 4-War Queens event with a score of 119 points. Adrian Smet finished 6th in the NSRA 100-yard prone rifle women's team event with a score of 549 points. Andrew Pereira is tied 18th in the men's sport trap individual shooting with a score of 68. Brian Mallow is in 29th with 51 points, and Terrence Medeiros is in 31st with 46 points. Gavin Manders has reached the quarterfinals of the men's singles tennis. Mendes defeated number 3 seed David Stevens Parry in straight set 6-2, 6-1. He also defeated Jonathan Flukes in straight set 6-love, 6-1. David Thomas defeated Michael Flukes in straight set 6-1, 6-4, but then fell in straight set 7-6, 6-2 to the 4th seed Patrick Orgy. Jack Keys defeated Nicholas Pearson in a 3-setter 6-1, 2-6, 1-love. He then bowed out, going down in straight sets to the number 1 seed Scott Clayton. The Bermuda men's team defeated Guernsey 3-0 in their volleyball match 25-21, 25-19, 25-22, while the Bermuda ladies team defeated the Isle of Man 3-0, 25-14, 25-10, 25-12. The Bermuda Junior Golf Association's national championships got underway at the Riddles Bay Golf and Country Club yesterday. Dakota Lamb shot a 67 off the blue tees. He finished 2 strokes ahead of Eric Douglas, while Alex Mason finished 3rd after a score of 82. Joe Watson and Tyler Emery both shot 91 to lead the Red Tee 18-hole group, while Ken Mooney shot a 92. With a score of 47, Ryan Clements finished on top of the Red Tee 9-hole group, while Nicholas Cease is in second with a round of 51, and Spencer Young shot a 54. It seems as though trips to race Ironman and Ironman 70.3 races continues to be popular. 4 Bermuda-based triathletes competed at the Syracuse Ironman 70.3 triathlon. Matt Thompson led the way with a very strong sub-5-hour performance. Thompson covered the 1.2-mile swim in 29:47, the bike course distance of 56 miles in 2:31:10, and closed out his 13.1-mile run in a time of 1:43:04, clocking an overall time of 4 hours, 49 minutes, and 18 seconds. He finished 6th in the men's 45 to 49 age group. Jeff Smith clocked 30:45 on the swim, 2 hours 40 minutes and 13 seconds on the bike, and 1 hour 49 minutes and 54 seconds on the run for an overall time of 5 hours, 15 minutes and 34 seconds, finishing 34th in the men's 45 to 49 age group. Chris Eaton clocked an overall time of 5:24:02, finishing 47th in the 45 to 49 men's age group, and Brian Lynch crossed the line in an overall time of 6 hours, 12 minutes, and 25 seconds. Kamar Lavrock took to the field for the MCC Universities, taking on Lancashire Cricket Club's second 11 in a 3-day match in Liverpool yesterday. Lancashire won the toss and decided to bat. They scored 347 for 8 declared in 94 overs. Lavrock returned bowling figures of 10 overs, 1 maiden, none for 52. However, he was involved in a run-out with a direct hit. At the close of play, the MCC Universities were 22 without loss after 8 overs, with Lancashire leading by 325 runs. Jessica Lewis once again has proven that she is a top contender in her races as she took to the track to compete in the Fast Car Invitational in Indiana. During the T53 Women's 400 preliminaries, Lewis recorded a personal best time of 1:00.79, which gives her an A standard for Rio in this event. During the final, Lewis went even faster with a new personal best of 1:00.52. Lewis next put on a dazzling display in the T53 Women's 100 meter and is scaring Angie Ballard from Australia, who is the world record holder in the event. She holds the world record in a time of 16:22. In the race, it took Ballard about 50 meters to catch Lewis, but as Ballard started to pull away from the field, Lewis hung in there to finish with a time of 17:20, with Ballard clocking 17:02. I'm Earl Baston reporting for VSB Sports.
And now the weather for Thursday, July the 2nd. There will be a mix of sun and cloud. Winds will be southerly, light to moderate, decreasing light overnight. The high will be 85 and the low near 77. This weather report is courtesy of the Bermuda Weather Service. Well, thank you for watching VSB News Online for Wednesday, July the 1st. I'm Charles Webb.